MJF stands as one of the best pro wrestlers in the world today. Whether you're talking about him in the ring, on the mic, he has the track record to back up what everyone says about him and is truly one of the few people that you can put into any era of professional wrestling and he'd still be a star. That is the level of talent that we are talking about when it comes to Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And it is because of this talent that many AEW fans have been frustrated over the last couple of years with the direction of his character. MJF stood as the biggest heel in wrestling. And right now, today, it feels like we have been on a journey with MJF of a return to that point, because in 2023, 2024, it felt like we got a more watered down version of that character compared to years past. MJF was no longer the killer. MJF was no longer the guy who would do whatever it took to win. MJF became a bit of a joke. But today, it looks like AEW and MJF are well on their way to fixing that. And in this video, I'm going to examine how we got here, how the MJF character should be treated moving forward, and why the success of a return to the real MJF is so critical for not just AEW, but the entire landscape of pro wrestling. I'm Omar Q for Wrestle Vibes. And this is the real MJF. Many people like to point to Hangman Adam Page as the main character in AEW, and they would be right. Adam Page has gone through several journeys throughout his time in AEW, but one thing has remained certain. When you think about AEW and you think about the storylines, the character work, more often than not, he is the guy that comes to mind. In many ways, his story is that of AEW. But as we know, in every great story, there needs to be conflict. There needs to be someone or something working against that main character. There needs to be something to drive the plot. MJF is that something. MJF, for as long as AEW has been around, has been the epitome of conflict, both within himself and with everyone and everything around him. And that has been what's driven some of the best aspects of the MJF character. MJF began his time in AEW as a cocky, young heel and exhibited many of the qualities that you would expect from that guy. He would come out wearing a Burberry scarf. He would be doing crotch chops. He would be doing all of the tropes that are associated with young wrestling heels. But MJF, over time, evolved that character into something bigger. He wasn't just simply a troll. He became a full-fledged monster. And as we know, every monster has their origin story. And MJF's origin story has been built around the idea that all of the bullying, all of the hope that had been ripped away from him from his heroes like CM Punk, heroes like William Regal, who denied him entry into WWE and told him to go work on his skills. All of that has been what in storyline has driven MJF. All of that has been in storyline what has led MJF down a path of darkness. And it wasn't until he found Adam Cole in 2023 that that path seemed to change. And it looked like we were getting a babyface version of MJF where he would be the conquering hero, where he would be the guy that everyone believed that one day he could be. And instead of being the conflict of the company, MJF went on to become the main character. And this is where things may get controversial, but I don't believe that MJF is that guy. I don't believe that MJF is supposed to be the main character in that way. I think that there are several different ways you can position MJF to have him be an integral and sometimes even a leading character in wrestling, but his entire existence and perception is built around the idea that he is the conflict, not the protagonist. And that is why that run in 2023, despite all of the injuries and other reasons that whole thing fell apart over time, that is a huge reason why all of that didn't work. It is because MJF's role is not necessarily to be that long-term good guy. It is not to be that long-term protagonist. It is to be the arch enemy, the foil, the chaos that comes with everything that MJF has done throughout his life. This is the guy who punched William Regal in the back of the neck, sending blood rushing from his mouth. This is the guy who sent him packing in the company. This is the guy who tried to end the career of the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. This is the guy who took the world championship away from what looked to be an unbeatable Jon Moxley. This is the guy who beat CM Punk at his own game, playing mind games on one of the best to ever do it. That's the story that this has always been with MJF. And in the aftermath of his return in 2024, it felt like they were trying to go back to a babyface version of MJF. Now, they eventually came back and did a heel version, and it felt like there were glimpses of that OG MJF that we all knew well and good, but we weren't quite there yet. It wasn't until we saw the conflict that he created with himself and Adam Page, that is when we saw what MJF could truly be. That is when we saw the realization of him as a character, understanding that he's not meant to be that main character. He now understands that he is meant to be that conflict. And after going through hell and back on the road to Full Gear with a championship opportunity at his disposal at any point, I think MJF is about to do something insane. I think MJF is about to prove everyone wrong one more time, as he knows how to do. I think he is going to go back to those roots, and we are going to get that full-fledged version of MJF. Not the babyface, not the main character or attempted main character. We're going to get MJF, a world champion, as conflict. And as we know, that is when some of the best stories are told. And if you want to even think about this larger than the AEW landscape, MJF one day will be a free agent. It will happen. It is bound to happen. It is an almost certainty. And if he does, and he creates and builds himself back up to that level that we all view and know him to be at, I think that when WWE comes a knocking, they are going to get that biggest guy. They could have the biggest free agency signing they have ever had. That is what we are talking about here. And it is all due to the character work and the understanding of what he's supposed to be that has led us to this point. If you guys like that video, let me hear about it in the comment section below. Also, be sure to smash that thumbs up and check out one of these other videos from WrestleVibes.